Welcome to the deep dive. We cut through the noise, give you the essentials from really compelling research. Today, we're plunging into something truly cutting edge. It's this fascinating intersection of, well, gaming tech, virtual reality, and medical rehab. Okay, let's unpack this. Are
Uh-huh.
missing today. To give you a shortcut, basically, to understanding a big systematic review, it's all about how these vision based, serious games and VR systems are, frankly, revolutionizing motor rehabilitation. Think about it, games, but for genuine physical healing, not just fun. And a huge part of their appeal. They're often affordable, totally hands-free, non-invasive, makes them super accessible, right? We're going to uncover some surprising trends, the key technologies driving it all, and even a roadmap someone proposed for future research.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating here is just how these information technologies are changing healthcare, especially, in motor recovery. This deep dive tackles a big challenge too. With so much rapid growth, it's actually hard to interpret all the results, find common principles. That's exactly why a systematic review like this one is so valuable. It cuts through that noise to give us some clarity.
Right. So why these vision-based systems specifically? What makes them such a potential game changer in rehab compared to, say, traditional therapy or other tech?
Well, the sources really highlight some key benefits. They capture body movements visually. That's huge in rehab because it means, no sensors stuck on you, no bulky gear.
Ah, okay. More natural interaction.
Exactly. It's intuitive,
Yeah.
often just using your body. And you get real-time feedback, which can adapt to what you need. Plus, they avoid those common motion tracking issues like drift, where accuracy slips over time, or occlusion, where like your arm blocks the camera's view of your leg,
Makes sense. So they're more reliable in that way.
pretty much. And when the review mentions serious games, it's really stressing their main purpose. It's rehabilitation first, entertainment second. These aren't your average console games. They're built for a specific therapeutic reason.
And the virtual reality part in this context is about immersing patients, making it feel less clinical.
Precisely. Less like therapy, maybe more like, well, play, which
Yeah.
is a massive motivator for sticking with it. And stepping back a bit, these systems offer a critical alternative for patients who might struggle to hold physical devices because of their condition.
Right. Opens up therapy to more people.
Definitely. And it's worth stressing again the rigor behind this review. It wasn't just someone's opinion. It's a systematic literature review, an SLR. They use specific guidelines, Kitchenham Downs and Black checklist, to really assess the quality of the studies.
How many studies did they look at?
They sifted through a lot and ended up synthesizing evidence from 86 relevant studies. And what makes this review stand out is its broad approach. It wasn't limited to just one disease or one specific tech or even one type of study design. It gave a really wide view.
Okay, that's crucial context on the method.
Yeah.
So let's dig into the findings. What did this rigorous analysis actually uncover? First big question. Momentum. Has research here actually grown?
Oh, absolutely. Resounding yes on that one. The number of studies just exploded between about 2007 and 2018.
Really took off, huh?
Yeah, with a definite peak around 2014, 2015. It signals a real shift,
Yeah.
a potential new paradigm in rehab.
Which creates opportunities, but also that challenge you mentioned, making sense of it all, ensuring it's reliable info.
Exactly.
Okay, so what is this happening most?
Geographically,
The review found Asia leading the way about 36% of the studies. Europe was close behind at 31%, then North America with 24%.
any specific countries really driving it?
Yep, Korea popped up with 15 studies and the USA with 14. They seem to be at the forefront.
And who are these therapies actually for? Which patient groups?
Clear picture there. Stroke patients were the biggest group, 42% of the studies. And then individuals with cerebral palsy, that was about 20%.
Interesting. Any age trends? Yeah, quite significant. Over half the studies focused on elderly participants. But also, about 24% involved children. And, connecting that growth trend back, technologies like the Microsoft Kinect really fueled that surge. It hit the market late 2010, relatively low cost, natural interaction. It just opened doors for researchers.
Right, made it accessible for labs to experiment.
Exactly. Now, there was a slight dip after 2015. Part of that might be Kinect being discontinued and the original OpenNI project shutting down. But the underlying need for better rehab hasn't vanished, and new depth cameras are emerging, so growth is likely to continue.
And the geography, does that link to things like aging populations?
Austin does, yeah. Growing elderly populations in some regions definitely drive more research into related healthcare, like stroke rehab. And focusing on stroke and CP patients makes sense. They have the kind of motor impairments these vision systems can potentially help. But this brings up a challenge the review noted. Recruiting enough patients, especially representative groups like kids with CP, is tough.
Leads to smaller studies.
Often, yeah. Smaller trials, sometimes without control groups, which impacts, the statistical power. Makes it harder to generalize the findings. It's a real hurdle.
A very real hurdle. Okay, so assuming researchers can get good studies designed, what does the therapy actually look like for patients? What are they doing?
Good question. The review grouped the common tasks into about 5 main areas. First, balance. Think reaching, leaning, maybe stepping exercises displayed in a game format.
Okay.
Then upper extremities, arm movements like flexing, grasping, waving, even hitting virtual targets. Lower extremities too, things like stepping in place, knee bends. A smaller group focused on general physical fitness or muscle strength, encouraging more whole body movement.
And the last one.
Sight movement coordination and visual perception, so coordinating arm and leg movements or eye-hand tasks.
And the idea is always to make it more engaging than standard exercises.
Absolutely. Instead of just reps, you're playing a game, getting a score, seeing progress visually. It transforms the experience, hopefully makes it less of a chore.
Okay, and the tech making this happen. You mentioned Connect.
Yeah, Connect was dominant, showed up in 48 of the 86 studies. That's a lot.
Wow, yeah.
And researchers used both off-the-shelf commercial Connect games and developed their own custom ones.
What else was used besides Connect?
The iToy system. You might remember that from PlayStation. And another called Gesture Tech, IRXX, were the next most common. And what's fascinating, again, is how these tasks directly target common issues in stroke and CP loss of balance, poor postural control, upper limb problems.
Makes sense. Tailoring the game to the therapy need.
Right. And Connect was so popular mainly because, well, it was cheap, easy to use, no controllers needed.
The hands-free part again.
And the open APIs. That was huge for researchers building their own rehab games. iToy, on the other hand, mostly used commercial games. But the review did call out a need for better documentation in the research papers, meaning describing the systems and how they work more clearly. Better transparency is crucial for other researchers to replicate the study, build on the findings. It helps the whole field move forward.
Got it. Okay, so we know what they're doing and the tech they're using, but the million-dollar question, how do we know if it actually works? What about measurements?
Ah, yes. The review found a huge variety of measurements being used, around 180 different ones, actually.
180, wow, that seems messy.
It is a bit. They included standard clinical tests, things you'd expect, like the Fugl-Meyer for motor function, the Berg Balance Scale.
Things clinicians use routinely.
Exactly. Berg assesses balance, full risk. The Time Up and Go test, or 2U, measures general mobility. But they also use kinematic data like movement time, speed, smoothness, and game scores themselves. And, importantly, subjective feedback, too. Questionnaires about patient satisfaction, enjoyment, motivation.
Okay, a mix of objective and subjective. But here's where things get tricky, right? You mentioned the quality scores earlier.
Yes. This is a really critical finding. Despite all the interest in cool tech, many of the clinical trials weren't reported very clearly or standardized well. The average quality score using that Downs and Black checklist was only 13.44 out of a possible 28.
Less than half. That's not great.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's a red flag, really. It means a lot of this exciting work might be built on, let's say, shaky foundations. It undermines the potential.
So that huge variety of measurements you mentioned, the 180 different ones, that's part of the problem.
It definitely contributes. This lack of standardized, validated measures makes comparing studies incredibly difficult. How do you know if intervention A is better than B if they measure success completely differently?
Right. Apples and oranges.
Exactly. So the review strongly recommends using more standard, well-validated measures, like the Berg Balance Scale, the TOGA test, functional reach test, things people agree on, and also combining those objective clinical scores with the subjective patient feedback usability, satisfaction for a fuller picture.
Get both sides of the story.
Precisely. And going back to those low-quality scores, often it came down to poor reporting. Details on how patients were recruited, how randomization was done, if blinding was attempted, often missing or unclear.
Even if blinding patients is hard in these studies.
Right. It often is.
Yeah.
But you still need to report clearly on the other aspects of the trial design. It just highlights a big need for better design and, crucially, better reporting in future research. It's fundamental for scientific validity.
Okay, so facing these challenges, the review didn't just point fingers, it offered a solution.
It did, yeah. They proposed a specific research methodology, kind of a guide, especially aimed at engineers who might be developing these systems and trials. The goal is to help them design and report studies better, making them more comparable, more impactful down the line.
Makes sense. Can you walk us through the key parts of that proposed method?
Sure. First, clarity on the aim. Be really specific about what you're trying to achieve. Improve balance. Test safety. Look at learning transfer. Define it clearly.
Step 1. Know your goal.
Exactly. Second, target population. Describe your participants in detail, the condition, age, sex, how you recruited them, who dropped out. Helps minimize bias.
Okay.
Third, selecting the therapy. Choose appropriate outcome measures, mix standard clinical tests, and subjective feedback, and describe the tech and the exercises very clearly. No ambiguity.
Got it. What's next?
Fourth, study design. Decide the trial type, ideally a randomized controlled trial, or RCT, for the best evidence, and then report transparently on how you randomized and handled blinding.
Right. Be upfront about the methods.
And finally, fifth, vision-based interaction features. This means detailing the specifics of the system itself. Like how intuitive is the interaction? Is the feedback real-time? Is the interface inclusive? What about environmental factors, the cost? Are you using mirror feedback where patients see themselves? All those details matter.
Wow. Okay. That's quite comprehensive.
It needs to be. This kind of standardized reporting is just essential for scientific progress. It allows for replication, for meta-analysis, helps us really figure out what works. And it highlights things often overlooked, like the exact interface, the room setup, the cost. These can all affect outcomes and whether findings apply in the real world. That mirror feedback example, seeing yourself move can be powerful needs documenting.
Okay, so let's recap this deep dive. We've seen this, well, explosive growth in vision-based serious games and VR for motor rehab. Technologies like Kinect really push things forward, focusing mainly on stroke and CP patients, often older adults.
Right. We also uncovered this critical need for more standardization in the research. Better methods, clear reporting. It's vital to compare results properly and build confidence in the findings.
Absolutely. The potential, though, feels undeniable, doesn't it? These systems offer ways to make rehab more engaging, more accessible, often more affordable. So what does this all mean for you listening? Maybe next time you see someone playing a motion-controlled game, you won't just see entertainment. You might be seeing the frontier of physical healing. And it makes you wonder, how can we unlock even more potential here? Could we extend these systems beyond the clinic, into homes, track long-term effects on independence, on quality of life?
That's exactly where the thinking needs to go. And this review really does point towards those future directions. There's a definite need for long-term follow-up studies. We need to know if the benefits stick around beyond the trial period.
Right, sustainability.
Yeah, and better reporting on real-world use, like systems maybe used in hospitals but not formally published.
Yeah.
You need that data too. And, crucially, safety. While controller-free is great, we need good ways to monitor patients, especially older folks, to prevent falls or injuries during these exercises.
Practical challenges too, right? Like needing open space for the tracking to work well?
Exactly. Space requirements of broader acceptance. The journey to fully integrate this tech into standard practice is definitely still ongoing. Critical thinking, careful evaluation, that remains key.